So we had the Andretti news, now we've got the Sauber news, or the Audi news, or the Saudi news, because what's happening behind the scenes seems to be a little bit confusing, because Audi was really into buying into the Swiss team, and now, well, it just looks odd. Sauber itself is no stranger to having manufacturer support or sponsorship. In the beginning, they were closely associated with Mercedes, as before its entry into Formula 1, Sauber ran Mercedes Group C prototypes. In 1993, it entered Formula 1, and they actually ran their own V10 engines, which is something I hadn't realised up until this point. In 1994, the engines were Rumours badged as Mercedes, although you could probably think that they were badging them as Mercedes because of everything that was going on with Rumours and Mercedes at that point, like the beast that was running at the Indy 500 in 1994. In 1995, though, they switched to customer Ford engines, ran those through 1995 and 1996, before getting rebadged customer Ferrari engines in 1997, so that they became the Red Bull Sauber Petronas team, and began a long association with Ferrari for their engines. So much so, it's claimed that during the final race of the 1997 season, Jean Todt went to Sauber before that final race and said, "Hold up Villeneuve when he comes to lap you, or you won't get engines next year." Murray Walker and Martin Brundle on ITV exchanged some quips about that when Fontana seemingly let Schumacher through no issue, and then conveniently forgot where his wing mirrors were placed when it was Villeneuve that was behind him. Moving on through, Sauber was then associated with BMW between 2006 and 2009, and they became just Sauber again in 2011. This was until 2019, when it was branded as Alfa Romeo. In the 30 years the team has been involved in the sport, they have scored just the one win, which was Robert Kubica's win at the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix, with its highest ever recorded position in the Constructors being second in 2007. The stats show that they've had 27 podiums, 1 pole position, and 1 fastest lap. But even though Sauber has had a long relationship with Ferrari, licensing every part on their engines and cars, and even taking the odd Ferrari engineer on occasion, by the mid-2000s that relationship had started to weaken down a little bit. In 2004, Sauber voted with the other non-Ferrari teams in regard to rule changes for 2005, and were also sign-ups to the proposed breakaway league, the GPWC. They also switched to Michelin tyres for 2005 while Ferrari stayed with Bridgestone, although this might have all been done in preparation for the BMW involvement coming in for 2006. So it's a team with a colourful history, a team that has often flip-flopped between being a mid-grid team to a back-of-the-grid team, and also a team that has had many familiar faces driving for it over the course of its 31 years in Formula 1. People like Frentzen, Alesi, Heusinkveld, Massa, and it's also the team that gave Kimi Räikkönen his break. There are other drivers, obviously. This is a sample and not supposed to be everybody that's ever raced for them. You forgot Kubica! No, I didn't. These days, the team is called Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber. Sure. This has also started something off in recent weeks, because it appears that the stake gambling site, crypto gambling site, whatever it is, hasn't got a license to operate in Switzerland, which might affect Sauber down the line, because there's laws and things, and it might affect the branding as a whole for the entire season. I also don't even know what Kick is. Well, I do now because I looked it up when I was writing it. It's a BTEC Twitch, apparently. But it's actually interesting, because there are some countries that Formula 1 visits where there are restrictions involving gambling. In the last few years, the British, Dutch and Belgian authorities have been looking at banning things that involve betting companies. In Britain, it's banning betting companies advertising on football shirts in the top 92 clubs of the English Football League, and also winding down the amount of, let's be honest, militant betting advertising that's happening in Britain right now, while the Dutch and Belgian governments want something doing about loot boxes because they say that constitutes gambling too. There are 3 countries that Formula 1 currently visits that have outright bans on gambling. Those are Singapore, the UAE and Qatar. Now in Singapore and the UAE there are licensed lotteries, and I think in the UAE there's a workaround like foreign visitors like tourists and foreign nationals who live in the UAE can gamble, but for those who are sort of locals, if that makes any sense, you know, the Muslim locals, because of their rules and laws surrounding religion and things like that, they can't gamble. But in Qatar, it's completely off the table. No regular lotteries, there's no casinos, there's no nothing, although there is an underground gambling scene, and they do go on websites based in other countries, so I guess like Paddy Power or William Hill or whatever, or maybe places based in China to gamble. But yeah, those are 3 countries where Formula 1 can't have gambling stuff on show. And this has happened in the past with the tobacco companies. Williams replacing Rothmans with Racing or the question mark, Ferrari using the barcode, Jordan running Buzzing Hornets or Be On Edge, BAR using Look Left and Look Right, but this was in a different time. Williams, when under the sponsorship of Martini, had to run an altered livery in places like the Arab states due to their culture surrounding alcohol and other places where they restricted alcohol sale and advertising. There were a couple of other countries on top of the Arab states where they had to do it. I think Russia was one of them, I think the United States as well. So there's a chance that Sauber might be breaking the law in these countries if they turn up with the stake logos on the team wear and all that stuff, or they might just run a different name or run a different livery or whatever it might be to get around it, like they did with the tobacco laws and what Williams did with the Martini stuff. But is it going to be something that they might have to change entirely because they might be breaking the law already in Switzerland where the team is based? I think that's going to be one where we need to see what happens with that. But yeah, we need to get into the other problem that's going on, which is Audi. Audi's entry into Formula 1 has been a bit of a weird one, because unlike Andretti, who wanted to enter as their own team with GM and occupy another 2 slots on the grid, Audi is going the different route and simply buying in and doing it that way. Same way BAR did to Tyrrell, Red Bull did to Jaguar, and so on. And while Audi coming in at the expense of Andretti has divided fans because they're allowing in one but not the other, there has been an interesting development in the last few days. What's happened is Oliver Hoffmann, who is the main man behind Audi's F1 entry plans, is potentially leaving due to some disagreements internally within Audi. This in turn means that Audi's entry into Formula 1 might undergo some re-evaluation if Hoffmann leaves, and there is said to be some challenges regarding Sauber too. In turn, Gernot Döhler, Audi's CEO, has made remarks that leave the door open for Audi to withdraw the shares that it has already bought in Sauber, which was done ahead of the 2026 takeover. Now, of course, all of this is speculation, but Hoffmann's potential departure would come after Markus Duesmann, another big player in the Audi F1 project, leaving in recent times. Autosport reports that Hoffmann and Döhler have had a falling out that have been rumoured to be among, but not limited to, the direction the company is going. Audi's sales of brand new cars in the last couple of years haven't been on target for what the company had wished, and some new models haven't been well received either. This is all done under Hoffmann, and Hoffmann has copped the blame for this, being the Chief Development Officer. Rumour is there was a discussion about Hoffmann at Audi yesterday, so the 22nd of February, or Thursday, the 22nd of February, and any decision on that is going to be announced by the VW board at the earliest end of next week. So what actually might happen here is this is another rumour that's on top of a rumour on top of a rumour, is that Hoffmann will go to Sauber and do stuff there and lose his job as the Chief Development Officer at Audi. Ow, I bit my tongue. As it stands, jobs are still being posted on websites for jobs at the Audi Formula 1 team. At the same time, Andreas Seidel is currently at Sauber working hard to get everything in place for Audi to enter, and this stuff behind the scenes might mess about with that. While the VW board said everything was in place back in the December of 2023, things are quickly changing. Like already mentioned, this big fallout could result in VW saying to Audi that they might need to pull the plug, and the shares that Audi has already purchased in Sauber might get sold, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Formula 1 is currently in a boom period, and buying into a Formula 1 team hasn't been this attractive since probably the late 2000s, just before the market crash. On the other hand, there is going to be the problem that the attractiveness of the team will decrease completely if Audi pulls out. Carlos Sainz is rumoured to be the guy who gets one of the seats at the team because of his dad mainly, but also because, well, it's Audi. And attracting engineers to the team is going to be a lot easier because people are going to want to work for Audi rather than Sauber. Especially since most of the motorsport workforce is based in the UK, and we've seen with the rumours about Pete Bonington moving with Hamilton to Ferrari, moving a single engineer straight out of university, or someone who's been doing work at an F4 team for instance to Switzerland, is going to be easier than an established figure with a wife and kids. Wife and kids are going to have to get used to a new home, new schools, learn new languages, and job security would need to be guaranteed as well. And you're probably going to get that with Audi. But the problem Formula 1 will have if Audi does pull out is that a lot of the stuff based around the 2026 engine regulations was done to try and lure the likes of Audi in, as Audi and Porsche were the two big names that came attached with those new engine rules. For all that change to happen only for Audi to pull out makes things messier than it would otherwise be. Someone's already mentioned the stuff between DTM and Super GT when they had those crossover regulations so that Japanese teams could go to Germany and German teams could go to Japan, only for DTM to pull out of that when Dieselgate started. But Audi's words at the minute seem quite cryptic. Are they in or are they not? If Hoffman is shifted to the Formula 1 project, then that might mean they're still committed, but Audi has said they don't comment on personnel matters. They've got Seidel installed in Switzerland, things are moving along. I guess the board meeting is going to be where it'll be yayed or nayed. And I'd like to see Audi in Formula 1. Another OEM would be good, but on top of these rumours, there's rumours that things are way behind where they should be, and that's why Audi wants out. But I'll believe it when I see it. But if Audi does pull out, it'll make you wonder why Formula 1 went to all that effort to woo Audi and make them agree to the new engine regulations to get them into the sport in the first place. I wonder if Andretti is hovering over his checkbook right now just in case, but at the same time, why would an American team want to move to Switzerland? I don't know. You lot have a chat about it in the comments. So then, this has been a thing that's happened, and this has been my opinions on that thing. If this thing has made you think things about the thing, like this thing so I know I've done a good job and it will satisfy the algorithm, and for more stuff like this, get subscribed with the bell on so you never miss out. And I also get to 7 figures on the old subscriber count. Massive thanks as ever to the fine bunch of lads at Patreon for the support, and if you want to help keep things running around here, there's a link to Patreon in the description, along with links to Discord and socials to stay connected, as well as affiliate links for the F1 store and Mixed Garage. There's also super thanks for the one and done donations and memberships too, because, why not? So until next time, I've been Millward, have a great day wherever you are, and goodbye.